All right, I wanted to show you how I think as I am approaching a STAAR revise section, so the revise and edit. Now I do this section last because it requires the least amount of my brain power to do, so I will save it for the end. And by this time, I am probably sick of reading all the boring stuff they pick for STAAR to read. So luckily with these, I don't really have to read them like very closely. I don't have to do a deep reading like I do with the reading section. What I do is I first look at this little section here and I figure out, okay, what is the purpose? Because they'll give you the student's purpose, and here I see that it's a persuasive essay. So I would highlight the purpose so I know what she's trying to do. That helps. Then I would go to the questions. I would probably skim through this. I highlighted the numbers here, but really I would just quickly skim it to make sure that I'm like getting her entire purpose for the essay. Then I would go to the questions. Melody's opening sentence is unclear. What changes should she make in sentence 1? Okay, so that's easy. So I go up to sentence 1 and I read through that. They're continually telling us that we should become more involved in the community by volunteering our time. Hey, we just talked about how pronouns that are vague should always have their antecedent be clear. And this they here doesn't have any kind of antecedent. It doesn't have anyone that it's referring to. So I'm already going to find that as my answer, I'm sure. And here we see change they to teachers and leaders at our school. Yes, please. What is the most effective way to combine sentences 6 and 7? So I'm going to scroll up and look at sentences 6 and 7. My own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. She is having a hard time in math. Okay, so before I know how to combine these, I need to know my reasoning for combining them. So I need to look around and at least read this paragraph to figure out what our author is trying to say here. Their students have excellent skills. They're arguing for a mentoring program that they could put their skills to use helping students who are struggling. Okay, then we have our two sentences that we're looking at. Her classroom is crowded. She can't get that attention she needs. Okay, so the purpose here must be to say that her sister could use some help, right? So then we'll go down and look at our answers and see which one would match with that. My own sister is having a hard time in math, attending one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. Well, that's not right because it doesn't really combine the thoughts that we're looking for here. My own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school, although she is having a hard time in math. Well, although is like, saying this is something, but although it's, the opposite. That can't be right. My own sister, who attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school, is having a hard time in math. That could be. I'm thinking maybe that one. My own sister attends one of the elementary schools that feeds into our high school. She is having a hard time in math. Boy, I know it's not this one because that is a run-on sentence with like a comma splice right here. You can't have a complete thought here and then a complete thought here and connect those with a comma, so I can cross that one right out. So I'm thinking it's got to be this one. And that achieves the purpose of what, if we go back and plug that in, my own sister who attends one of the schools is having a hard time in math, her classroom is crowded. So, that makes total sense where it would fit. We go to the next. Melody needs a better transition into the third paragraph of her essay. Which of the following could she have before sentence 12? Well, so we go look at sentence 12, find that, and then here's our transition. And I've told y'all that you need to move from your previous paragraph's idea into your new paragraph's idea. So up here, this paragraph's been calling for a mentoring program to help struggling students, okay? And then she's moving into an article published in this mag that elementary school students raised their reading level significantly in a short period of time after being tutored. Okay, so we got to figure out which transition works best there. In researching mentoring programs, I learned of several promising results. Okay, that could be. As I think about a mentoring program, I have many ideas on how it should work. I would cross this one out because she goes on to talk immediately about the magazine she's found something in, and that's not her own thoughts. If struggling youngsters get the help they need, it could benefit teachers too. Okay, it could be that. we'll need to go up and see if they talk about the benefits to teachers. That would be the big key here. Because I believe in the mentoring concept, I'd like to see it at our school. Well, that doesn't really follow, we know, with what's about to be talked about, because this starts talking about, the raising of reading levels. So let's see if they say anything about teachers. Volunteering has a positive influence on high school mentors. Students learn how to be good mentors. I don't see anything talking about teachers. Mentors get the satisfaction of meaningfully contributing to the community. No, nothing about teachers. So then we know that can't be the right answer. So it has got to be this one. She wants to add a counter argument to her essay. Where is it going to fit? So we can go look at these sentences and see what they have to say. We already know from class that generally, a lot of times you will introduce your counter argument at the end of your essay. So maybe we'll start from 21. And then this counter argument is that some students might say that they don't have enough time to participate in a mentoring program because they're involved in other activities. So I think the key here is time. So we're looking for stuff in one of these areas that has to do with like not having enough time, or like being too busy because they're in other activities. So if we go to sentence 21, fortunately, starting the program would require only a few students available and willing to help others. It could be. I believe many students would volunteer to be mentors, which would help children. So that could make sense there. Let's see, because it doesn't necessarily mention time, but it does mention that some students are saying they don't have enough time and they couldn't participate, but others could. So that could work. Before sentence 13, let's see. Furthermore, furthermore means I'm going to tell you more about whatever I've been talking about, some new idea, and volunteering seems to have a positive influence. That doesn't match with our counter argument at all, because furthermore is going to be telling more about how volunteering has a positive influence, whereas ours is talking about how students might say they don't have enough time. So it can't be that one. We could cross that one right out, which I do. So if I'm actually doing this on a test, I would cross the ones out that I know are not right. For sentence 10, a mentoring program in which high school students tutor elementary school students could be a solution. That doesn't seem to have anything at all to do with the counter argument. She has told me that she has many friends who also need help. That doesn't make any sense. And then before sentence 5, that's way up at the beginning. I kind of would doubt it would be that one. Many of the students at our high school have excellent academic skills. With a mentoring program, these students could put their skills to use. Well, this is like starting the argument that they want to get the students to start helping. So they wouldn't bring up a counter argument already right here in the middle of that, in the middle of their argument for why students should. They wouldn't bring up the things about how students may not want to. It doesn't fit there at all. So I think the only logical place is sentence 21. Because I've crossed out my others as I've gone. Process of elimination is the way to go in this thing. So there we are.